Brought to you by Penguin.
The Long and Winding Road by Lesley Pearse. Read by Rebecca Lacey. Chapter 1. I can remember exactly where I was when I first heard the Beatles' song, The Long and Winding Road. It was early June in 1970. I was 25, sitting in London's Richmond Park, listening to a transistor radio, and the song made me cry because I felt I'd been on that winding road forever. Had I known then just how fraught with drama and disappointment it would continue to be, I might have wished to step off it. But I'd always been an optimist. I was born in Rochester, Kent, in February 1945, just as Churchill, Roosevelt and Stalin were winding up their talks on the future of Europe after the expected defeat of Germany. These took place in Yalta, Crimea. Apparently, Stalin wanted to meet in Moscow, but Churchill said it was too damn cold there in February. 2 months later, Roosevelt died, and despite the discussed plans, Stalin took over a huge amount of Europe, including Poland. Of course, I wasn't aware of any of that, but as a kid, I certainly felt it was a curse to be born in freezing February. My birthday always fell at half-term too, and I'd be shoved out to play in the snow. I still prefer looking at the snow through a window in a warm room. My mother, Marie Glynn, was an Irish nurse from Roscommon, and my father, Sergeant Arthur Geoffrey Sargent, yes, really, was in the Royal Marines, stationed at Chatham. My brother Michael was 2 when I was born, a very pretty little boy with a mop of blonde curls. I resembled Winston Churchill. I don't know when my parents bought the house in Grafton Avenue, Rochester. It was typical of the late 1930s terraced houses, with a keyhole-style front porch and a large back garden. I assume, as the address was on my birth certificate, that they must have bought it in 1937 or 1938 when they got married, and Dad was seconded to the New Zealand Navy. He was there until the Second World War broke out, when his ship sailed away to fight. The next part of my story is legend and hearsay. I could never get adults to verify or explain, and mostly they didn't wish to discuss what had happened or really didn't know. But the undeniable fact, proved years later by my mother's death certificate, was that in early January of 1948 she died of septicemia following a miscarriage. My father was away at sea, and Michael and I were seen out in the garden in the snow with no coats on. When Michael was asked by our neighbour where our coats were, he said he couldn't reach them, and Mummy was asleep. She'd been asleep for a long time. She had been dead, it seems, for a few days. Michael was 5. I was 3. But if my brother remembered anything about that time, he never said. It doesn't bear thinking about 2 small children being alone in the house for so long with no heating or food and thick snow outside. I think it was possible that Michael attempted to light the gas to get warm or to try to cook something for us, but we were afraid of the popping sound the Ascot water heater made when it was turned on and off, lighting the gas stove. To this day, I have an absolute hatred of gas cookers. I don't remember anything of this, and in fact, I didn't discover what our mother had died of until I got married at 20 and had to show her death certificate. There it was, in black ink, the truth. We had been told various stories over the years. One was that our mother tripped over our toys on the stairs. What sort of person puts the blame for a mother's death on her children? On Coronation Day, when we were crowded round a neighbour's television to watch the ceremony, I heard some old lady ask if we were the tragic children. Meanwhile, back in 1948, Michael and I were too young to be aware of all that. I believe my father came home on leave shortly afterwards and employed a housekeeper for a while, but she turned out to be useless, or maybe Michael and I were difficult because we were traumatised. Uncle Jim, Dad's brother, and his wife, Auntie Sybil, wanted to take me in, apparently, but they had a son, Malcolm, and couldn't manage both of us.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?